diva-like, or you're getting a bit bossy. Bossy was a word I heard a lot.
Yeah.
But really it's just, I'm actually just making my voice heard. I'm actually
Yeah.
just meeting my needs. And that's not to say you're trampling on anyone else's needs, but you're.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think
Hi, I'm Eve Menezes Cunningham, and welcome to the Feel Better Everyday podcast. I am so excited to be sharing new, trauma-informed and ADHD-friendly ideas for you to help you take better care of yourself, that highest, wisest, truest, wildest, most joyful, brilliant and miraculous part of yourself, as well as the basic self-care, which we all know can be so challenging at times. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you want a deeper dive, you'll be getting bonus content each week if you sign up to the Soul to Soul Circle. You can do that for free or from as little as €8 a month. And you can also find more ideas in the book, 365 Ways to Feel Better, Self-Care Ideas for Embodied Wellbeing. Do you ever feel like you're being too much and you either consciously or maybe unconsciously, like a default, disempower yourself? If so, this episode, where I have the lovely Jane Leonard joining me again, is about connecting with your inner queen or inner king, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed recording it. Thank you for listening.
thank you so much for joining me again, Jane.
Thank you for having me.
So Jane has become a friend. We met through the Irish Journal of Counselling and Psychotherapy editorial committee, and she's brilliant. And you might have heard her episode on cooking as self-care. I'll share a link in the show notes. And today we thought we would talk about one of the self-care ideas in the book, 365 Ways to Feel Better, Self-Care Ideas for Embodied Wellbeing, around connecting with your inner king and queen. And basically, both of us have ADHD. We were both diagnosed in 2024. And it's been such a steep learning curve for me. Jane has helped me enormously. And I thought maybe us talking around some of the self-care concepts I'm sharing might help you, whether you have ADHD or not. So today we're talking about the idea of that inner sovereignty, and especially with ADHD. Like, I know myself, I'm 49 now, and I've been connecting with my inner queen for many years, on and off, but especially this year, as the greater understanding I have, the greater awareness I have around how my brain works, is helping me be less dismissive of many, many things I do. I still laugh at myself very much, but I also empower myself much more. And thinking also in terms of neurodivergence and social justice and a sense of fairness and all these things that have always been really important to me. Like, even when I say inner queen, I mean that part of yourself, that sovereign, that part of you, that whatever it is you want in life, you can stand tall, you can move towards it. Politically, I'm more of a democratic socialist. Like, I don't think anyone is above anyone else. But when I connect with that kind of queen energy and just thinking, like last night, I can stay up late and get my bookkeeping sorted, even though I'm scared of numbers. I can do these things. So I wanted to just have a bit of a chat with Jane around this idea and how we both resource ourselves and empower ourselves with ADHD and in general. So
Yeah, so when you say inner king or queen, at first I said, oh my gosh, what is this? I don't understand. But when I thought about it, I absolutely know what you mean. I just call it a different name. I think I kind of see it as almost me being my full adult empowered self versus maybe
yeah,
my child self, a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more hesitant. And lately I think I've been calling it kind of more like I'm stepping into my boss self, because my 4-year-old, she puts her 2 hands on her hips and says, I'm the boss. And it just kind of pictures, when I look at her, that's kind of how I feel when I step into kind of my full power.
I love that so much, empowered by a 4-year-old, because it is that connection that she still has and hopefully will keep, but that so many of us lose as we get socialized. So we get disconnected from that inner power. So
yeah, I think we start to see it as almost a bad thing at times. And I'm not sure if that's more in women and girls than it is in boys and men. Yeah. But it's definitely almost a sense of, you know, oh, you're getting a bit like diva-like, or you're getting a bit bossy. Bossy was a word I heard a lot. You know, but really it's just, I'm actually just making my voice heard. I'm actually just meeting my needs. And that's not to say you're trampling on anyone else's needs, but you're
absolutely. And I think that's what I really liked when I first came across the idea of an inner queen, it being the leadership to serve rather than to corrupt or to like kind of take, but very much drawing on your strength and resources to be of service from a wholehearted way. And that has to start with self-care and self-love. So knowing that you're worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a queen expects to be cared for, so we have to care for ourselves. And yeah, but even stepping into that power is in itself an act of self-care.
Absolutely. Like when you know you need to speak up for yourself, or do, like, even thinking, like I was thinking today, I've had for the past however many months since I read James Clear's Atomic Habits. Since I read most of James Clear's Atomic Habits, and I wrote in chalk on some of my internal doors, and I wrote on the side of my medicine cabinet, what would you do if you really loved yourself? Do that. Because it just felt, and that to me is connecting with that inner queen energy, like kind of whether it comes to lighting candles before a bath, or eating something nourishing as opposed to something fast, or like a gazillion choices we make. His point is it's those daily habits, those tiny habits, each habit, each action, each behavior, we're voting for the kind of person we want to become. So again, connecting with that kind of queen or king energy, helping you recognize the power, helping us all recognize the power we have with the tiniest of decisions.
Yeah, and I think actually when you say recognizing, that's part of it for me, is that I can still be doing the same thing. So I might be giving a presentation or just having a conversation with the client, but it's that state of mind that determines where I am. So sometimes I can be doing it and second guessing myself because I'm in my child state or whatever. But then when I actually step into my full power, I realize, oh no, I actually am doing a good enough job, you know. But I think it's that mindset of, well, you shouldn't be too, you know, confident, or you shouldn't be too sure of yourself. And I suppose that was a lot of messages you get, especially when you have ADHD, you get that a lot, those messages a lot as a kid.
Yeah, and I'm thinking when I was growing up, like especially by my late teens, early 20s, where I kind of became more aware of stuff. My role models were people like Alice Walker and Gloria Steinem, and much older women who seemed very much in their power, but in a real amazing activist kind of way. Whereas now I have much younger role models like Beyonce and Taylor Swift, and like Greta, I've forgotten her last name.
Thunberg, yeah.
Yeah. But so many young girls and women and boys and men, people of all genders, but being their whole selves. But I think especially with younger women and girls, because I remember being so socialized to not be bossy. I was an older sister, as I am an older sister as well, and I was a terrible older sister, my poor little brother. But the idea, it's not valued, those same qualities in the same way, and yet the older I get, the more I recognize it's like there was something about respect the other day on a meme, and how if you see respect as something that people owe you as you an authority, as opposed to just that everyone deserves respect, then you expect someone else to respect you as an authority before you'll even respect them as a human, as a person. And it's like, oh my God, that explains so much about what's going on. Like, everyone deserves respect. Everyone has that power. I think with the internet, there's a lot of bad stuff, but also more and more people finding their voices. And I'm ADHD convo coaster. Have you
What does
heard
that
that?
mean?
Where
No.
it's a bit of a wee roller.
Oh, yeah. That's just standard ADHD conversation. No, that's how they go. Yeah. So, yeah, just the respect stuff, I suppose. That is, it's even back to like the self-respect. Just give yourself the respect to have your voice heard. And, you know, because I think a lot of the time we do give, well, I don't know, from my point of view, I would give other people the respect and I would say, oh, they deserve this. But, you know, it is working extra hard to do
Yeah.
that for myself because of maybe a lot of feeling weird or different or strange when I was younger and silencing myself.
Yeah, I think you're saying that. I went to a V-Day conference when I first went freelance, 2004. So my first ever press conference was with Gloria Steinem, Eve Ensler, now V, Sally Field, Jane Fonda. Like, it was amazing.
Wow.
We had activists from around the world, but they had a couple of like media titans who I didn't know because I'm not American, but Pat Mitchell and Pat Black. But in their session, they were talking about how it's really important in every meeting for, especially if you're a woman, to speak up no matter what it is you say, just like you say, like getting your voice heard. And I think from an early age, I was always good at speaking up, but like my mother would call me the fool, like in the tarot deck, like that kind of, and I would do it. And I remember when I was an undergrad, it was kind of like, I'd say something stupid in a tutorial to empower and embolden my peers to say something sensible. And it's probably taken until my late 40s to recognise it's all very well speaking up and being silly, but actually speaking up from a more empowered way as well.
There's almost like a rescuing there.
No, me? Like, yeah. But I love what we've been talking about so far, and there's going to be a bit of bonus content for free subscribers to the Soul to Soul Circle, and then a deeper dive for full moon and supermoon members. So if you're not already a member, you can subscribe for free or as a paid member at evemc.substack.com. But for now, I'd just like to say thank you so much, Jane. That's been amazing.
Thank you, Eve.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Feel Better Everyday podcast. If you'd like to subscribe and haven't already, you can do so via your favourite podcasting app. I also appreciate all comments and questions. If you've got any suggestions for future episodes, anything you'd like answered, let me know. And this episode, like all episodes, has been produced by me, your host, Eve Menezes Cunningham. Next week, we're working with the goddess Bridget. It's become a bank holiday here in Ireland, honouring the goddess Bridget and Saint Bridget. So working with the divine feminine and some little rituals to support you in working with the seasonal energies. I hope you have a gorgeous week.